Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Don from 1A Auto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And the next time you need a part for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, we're going to show you an alternator replacement on this 2001 Ford Escort ZX2. This procedure is pretty much the same for any 2-liter dual overhead cam Escort. What you'll need for this repair is a new alternator from 1AAuto.com, jack and jack stands. Jacking up the car and getting one of the bolts from underneath we found was the easiest way. 10 and 13 millimeter sockets with a ratchet. A 10 millimeter wrench would work as well. A flat blade screwdriver. You'll need an oil filter wrench and a drain pan, and you may want to just plan to do an oil change with this repair. Start out by disconnecting your negative battery cable using a 10 millimeter wrench or socket and ratchet.
I'm going to remove the coolant bottle overflow tank, and there's two 10 millimeter bolts that hold it in, one right here and one down underneath this AC hose. I'm coating the backside of the screw that holds the coolant bottle in on the strut tower on the backside with a little bit of penetrating oil because it's rusty and I don't want it to snap off. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video here, but what I'm doing is working the bolt out and back and forth and using penetrating oil because it's quite rusty and I don't want it to snap off. For the bottom one, I'm using the same socket and a long extension, 6-inch long extension. Here I'm going to fast forward again while I take the 10 millimeter nut off. There are 3 bolts that hold it in, one up here, and then 2 down below on either side. And I'm using a 13 millimeter socket.
Okay, we're going to fast forward. We're going to remove the top bolt, and actually one of the bottom bolts is fairly easy to get to just with your 13 millimeter socket and ratchet, so we'll fast forward as we remove those 2 bolts. And here you can see we've removed the oil filter. I'll show you that in a second. You remove the oil filter and you can easily access that third bolt from underneath.
Got the oil filter wrench adjusted. Oil drain pan underneath when you pull off your filter.
You could combine an oil change with this repair, or if your oil is still within the mileage, just put the old filter back on. And we'll fast forward here as we remove that bolt. And you know, as you can see, we have the vehicle up on a lift. You don't have to do it. It's a little more difficult on on your back, but you do obviously need a jack and jack stands. And as long as you know this is what you're getting into, it actually makes it quite a bit easier.
There are 3 connections on the back of the alternator, 1 power, and then 2 electrical connectors that I'm going to take off now. Remove the boot. Pull it up. And see all 3. The big one I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver, pry up on the connector. Same time pull it out. Similar with the little one. 10mm.
And the old alternator in the car was working fine. We're just doing this video to kind of show you. New alternators from 1A Auto are going to be the exact same as the original. They're going to install just the same. And we're fast forwarding here a little bit as we just kind of put the alternator down into place enough so that we can reconnect the two wiring harnesses and reconnect the battery harness, which takes the 10mm nut to hold it on, and tighten that up. And as you saw there, I'm gonna start speeding up here a little bit, but you just takes a little bit of positioning and get the alternator down into place. Start the top bolt in. Be careful to look down, use a flashlight, look down, make sure you don't pinch any wires or any other components in between the alternator and the engine or the bolts. And you can actually start all 3 bolts by hand from the top, tighten up the 2 bolts that are fairly easy to get to, and then you can transition down to the bottom and just tighten up the bottom bolt. And now you can see the filter we took out was white. This one's black. We did do an oil change with this repair, but you would either finish your oil change off or just put your original oil filter back on, tighten it till it's seated, and then another 3/4 turn to tighten it. And then be sure to refill your oil to the correct level.
Put the coolant reservoir back in. You're going to want to slide it on the post that it came off of down below.
Now that you got your screw and nut started, go ahead and tighten them both up, and you should be all set.
And now reconnect and tighten your negative battery cable. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.